Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is ArbieG and today we are back with the Mazda Beginners Series. We're into round 3. Today we're racing at Goodwood, so it's going to be two 20-minute races. First one based on a 10-minute qualifier and the second one based on a reverse grid based on the first race. So we've got the standings here in front of us. You can see we're leading out the standings at the moment only by 1 point, so we're on 56 points so far. We've got Fraser just below us, or Rezarth if you will, with 55, and we've got Sly, who unfortunately couldn't make the race tonight, on 54. So Fraser's our real big arrival at the moment. We've got Big Boy Barney as well, not far away with 51 points, so we've got to be aware of him. Just going to flip over to the qualifying. So we had a qualifying session, ran for 10 minutes, and this is how we qualified. So I've managed to nab myself into pole. We have Lewis, who I've been practicing, who I was doing quite a lot of practice with the day before, and he was very, very quick on this track, and he come in about half a tenth behind me, so very, very close there in qualifying. And then we've got Fraser in third position, a couple of tenths behind, and then Dawes and Barney. So the people you'd kind of expect up there at the top. Pleased obviously to nab the pole, very, very close. I thought it was actually going to go to Lewis because he was running better times than me in the practice, so pleased to get that pole position. But let's see how that translates now as we go over to the race, which, as I said, first race will be a 20-minute race. Actually, both races are 20-minute races, so we know what to expect. Worked out roughly to be about 14 laps, so you're running about, you know, a minute 22, minute 23, you're going to be doing about 14 laps on track. So the change this week is we're doing grid starts this week, so we've been doing rolling starts for the first 2 rounds. This week we've moved to grid starts, so a little bit more risky in this first half a lap or so. Got to be a lot more aware, and obviously leading out from the back paints a bit of a target on our back as well, so we're off. Good start, no major issues. So this one's a bit of a weird one for a start because turn 1's not really turn 1 because we're coming through turn 1 now, but it's a flat out, so it doesn't feel like turn 1. It's not until we get a bit further up the track we hit our first braking zone, effectively making a new turn 1, if you will. So just coming up now with Lewis, a little bit of speed on me up behind, actually looking to take that inside line. I'm taking like the centre track, trying to afford enough room for him to go past. Managed to hold it together there. Fraser's lost out behind us, knocked him off, and he's knocked myself off as well. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Come flying off wide there. Due to not going to rejoin the track safely just behind J-Lad. Managed to get in there all right. ArbieG's come around the outside and we see ourselves slip down to 5th. So really unfortunate start there. Obviously finding ourselves slipped down there. We've actually watched back that replay, and it was actually Fraser got a clip from behind, sent him wide. He lost control, and then obviously you saw him pile into both Lewis, who has obviously been a lot more impacted than me. I think his car got reset, and obviously myself, who very fortunate not to get a reset, but see me come back on track. So biggest part for me when I was looking for actors is this chicane here. You can get through the chicane at 70 miles per hour, which I didn't do there. I went through about 63, but you can get through there in your low 70s, 72, 73. Got there through there at 74. If you can manage to pull that off without obviously hitting the barriers, you're in for a really good time because you're flat out for quite a long time after that point. So what I found when racing around Goodwood, it's all about that a chicane at the end. If you can get that right in these Mazdas, you're running a good time. So got a little gap on Fraser behind us, and ultimately that's mainly who I'm racing against. Notice Big Boy Barney's up there in first place, so I've got to be aware of him pulling up some points. I think there's about a 5-point gap. So if he was to finish first, we've got to make sure we don't finish any less than 6th. And it looks like Fraser's run wide there, seen himself off. And now we've got Mr. Navoli behind us by about 4 seconds, so we've got a gap. We've actually got a space to move up there. Book the Boy and ArbieG not getting great through there, and just affording us a nice easy overtake. ArbieG running wide and Book the Boy not getting a great line. So that has been fortunate in pushing us up to 3rd place. Sees us about 2.5 seconds out from J-Lad in front. And we've got about a second or so with Book the Boy behind us as we come around now for the last couple of turns of lap 2. And just coming up to the tight chicane. Again, can be a killer this one if you try and push it too hard, and it looks like I have. and I've gone off there. That's really, really unfortunate. Giving people a bit of time to get forward, don't want to cause any accidents coming back on track, so I've had to see myself come out an 8th with Fraser just behind me now. So again, he's coming up, and now I can see myself down in 9th. So really, really bad spin out there. Just tried to push a little bit too hard through the chicane, ran wide, and obviously lost the back end of the car. So not a great start to this race, considering we were first place, and now we find ourselves second from last in 9th. So a lot of work to do, but I know I've got the pace to possibly trying to pull up a little bit. Certainly not looking at trying to win here, but certainly trying to at least get into the top half. It's not unreasonable, and like I said, with that gap between myself and Big Boy Barney being about 5 points, I need to realistically get myself 6th or higher for it to level out in the standings and not kind of impact me, and I can try and do a bit better come around the next race. So a lot of work to do still, but a lot of race to go as we're now in the 3rd lap of our 14 lap race. About 4 minutes through. Got good speed here on Fraser. Got a better exit than him. Got Mr. Navoli just in front of him. Don't know if I've got enough room to make a move here. Be surprised if I did. Yeah, looks like I'm just coming off there. A bit too late for me to come in on his inside, really. Don't want to cause another incident. Let's just see if I can get a better exit out of the chicane this time. So as we come through now, and at least it's clean out. Fraser's run himself wide, unfortunately, and it's actually gone into Lewis, and I got a little bit of edge of it there. Bit unfortunate. I think Fraser losing it and Lewis didn't look in a great state there, and they're both now behind. It impacted me a little bit, brought me off the pace a little bit, but certainly nowhere near as bad as it did for them, as I actually got a little bit of pace on Mr. Navoli now. So moving up past him, and that's got me back into 6th place, which is kind of where I was targeting in terms of, if you think about this in strictly of points. But we do have a big gap now between us and ArbieG in 5th position, just under a second gap, as we're now in lap 4, so with 10 laps left. So again, a lot of race, lose a bit of the back end there, but I'm going to afford Navoli a bit of chance to close up, but hopefully I can get a better exit out of here and pull away from Mr. Navoli. So we're going to skip forward now. We'll skip forward to lap 6. So pit strat I was going to go in at the end of lap 7, with it being the precise half point. You can see I've pulled up that gap between myself and ArbieG, and pulled away 4 seconds away from Mr. Navoli. So now it's a case of trying to find opportunity to get past ArbieG in Goodwood, which can be a bit of a challenging track to overtake. You can see there, had to come off a little bit. Actually grabbed myself a track penalty, which isn't great. Can be a bit of a harder track to grind that down, but hopefully you should find an opportunity to get that down before the end of the race. Only half a second. So skip forward now to lap 8, and we are in 8th position at the moment after a pit in lap 7, and we're just going to come through now and see where we climb up after all the pits have gone through and stuff. So we've got some people pitting at the end of lap 8, and a few people like myself pitted at the end of lap 7. So we've gone through now, again just behind ArbieG, in 7th position. So we've still got someone else to pit up in front of us, because we're 1 position behind what we were before, and we've actually got a really good exit on him here. So he comes out the pits, but we've got a normal exit, so we can move up now past ArbieG. Easy overtake, no risk there. And now we've got Lewis, who I believe hasn't pitted yet, because he was behind me, and so we'll be looking at him pitting at some point. And I believe Dawes, I can't remember if Dawes has got into pit yet, so we could possibly move ourselves up to 4th or so here, which would be, you know, a really good outcome considering what happened in those first 2 laps. Really two real bad offs. As we've got Barney Boy in the pit himself at the minute. Certainly not looking like anyone's going to take that from him today, so it looks like he's definitely going to get this first win, as we're trying to close his gap on Lewis, but we know Lewis has that pace, so he's just going to try and put in the best time we can. Best time we've put in so far is 1:23.5, so a little bit off it, but obviously been fighting through a little bit of traffic. You look at those times on the right, not really hitting those lower 23s, high 22s that I know I kind of get down to, but obviously that comes with the risk of hammering it through the chicane, as we actually get a really good exit on the chicane there. Lewis is going in pit anyway, so moving up now to 5th place, and with Dawes not far away, about 4 seconds, so certainly some time to pull back on him, but can't remember seeing him pit, so I still think he might have to pit on this one, and I think I do actually get past him due to a pit. So if that happens, 4th position is actually a really good outcome considering where we were. Obviously Goodwood being one of those tracks where any tyre you take off the track, you're pretty much off. As get through the chicane there, good exit there, you can see the time. Managed to build up on Book to Boy, as we've actually skipped forward now, actually completely missed that one. We're actually now in lap 14. And you can see Dawes did have to go and pit, so that moves us up to 4th. And we're about three seconds behind Book to Boy, so certainly not in range to catch up with us now in our last lap. But 4th would be a really good finish. You know, a bit disappointed obviously not to come away with a 1st or 2nd place considering how we qualified, and obviously annoying to get knocked off when it's, you know, not really your fault. And but the boy's come off there, he's had a real bad spin, and that's afforded us to get up onto the podium in 3rd place. So really unfortunate for Book to Boy there. And it looks like Jay's done the same as well. Jay's lost it the turn after, so a bit of fortune there, and really unfortunate for Jay as well. And Jay and Book to Boy sees him slip down, and Herbie come up to 3rd, and not going to complain too much to be able to move up to 2nd place. Barney Boy definitely getting that 1st position, but we're coming down now to the last couple of turns of the race, and should be good to secure this, provided we got through the chicane, which we did absolutely fine. So all in all, not a bad result. You can see there I was on a purple sector, a purple lap at the time of a 1:23.3, but I believe that was overwritten by Lewis on his one of his last laps, so didn't get the fastest lap on that one. And as we know, there's an extra point in it in the standings if you can get the fastest lap. So we didn't get that, but managed to salvage what could have been quite a bad result considering the 2 offs we had. But fortunate enough that people kind of in general seem to struggle and to get that consistency up for holding their own places, so all kind of balanced out in the end, and yeah, pleasing result all things considered. So we're going to go through into race 2. Remember, this being a reverse skid, so we're going to be at the back this time for starting us off, with obviously just Barney Boy just behind us, so we'll be starting off 2nd from last. So a bit more work to do on this one, but we have shown that perhaps if we can just put that consistency in, avoid any offs or anything like that, you should see yourself in a pretty good place regardless of your pace, because you're noticing a lot of offs and a lot of stuff, which, you know, it's Goodwood. It's going to happen at Goodwood, with the type being relatively fast paced, quite tight and surrounded by grass. It's just the nature of it. But using that to your knowledge, maybe think going into this race, you know, it's easy, maybe better thing is to sacrifice that half a second of pace a lap and take that more cautious line, which I think was kind of the approach when I thought about it coming into this one. So we're off now. Again, similar situation to before, where we're kind of flat out right up until the first braking zone, which is technically kind of like turn 3 or 4 really. Got Barney Boy just behind, Book to Boy not getting away to a good start. Got big boy Barney just in our slip behind. Hope he doesn't catch us as we're going through. Herbie not with great pace here. Don't think I'll be looking to overtake him again, just trying to be a little bit more cautious going through this. We are sitting quite close behind, but I'm sure I'll afford him rude as we come in through the braking zone. As you can see, I've backed off a little bit there. See if I can get a better exit than him here, which we did. Thought about going up on the inside there, but ultimately decided against it and went for the cut back on the outside. See if I can get a better exit from here. Gave him a little bump there, so a little fortunate that he didn't obviously tail off and fly off the side of the track, or else I would have had to wait for him, which is not what I want to be doing. We hold our position here in 5th, so managed to make some gains, you know, starting from 9th and up to 5th with just a clean first lap, not doing anything really spectacular, you know, not any massive dive bombs or anything like that, just, you know, putting in a lap and keeping up and not getting too close to people. As get a really good exit through there, you can see managed to hit that more, I'd say, riskier line of coming out at 70, and it's afforded me that just little bit of pace to get in front of Herbie, now just behind Lewis and Jay. A little bit of side on side there, and it's that come and swipe me on the left hand side. A lot happening there, and I find myself on the grass trying to get back on track. swung myself back on and dropped back a few positions, now back in 6th place, so a little bit unfortunate there. I think if I was a little bit further back, I probably could have reacted a bit quicker and sort of slowed off and seen what was going to happen, but I was relatively close to that when that unfolded, and my first reaction was to try and avoid it, and I went to the outside, and fortunately that's, you know, it kind of saved Lewis in a way, because if I wasn't there, Lewis would have gone wide, so I kind of kept him on track, but yeah, fortunately see myself back, and I got Book the Boy on the attack now, taking that inside line, because don't really want to be conceding any more places, but he might have the exit speed on me here, coming down, so going to have a little bit of battle now for 6th place, so a lot of work to do again to try and get up on this race and get into those higher places, especially with Big Boy Barney again running a great race, finding himself in 2nd place. Don't want to be creating those big gaps between myself and him. Fraser not running a good one, unfortunately, as well, finding himself a few seconds behind me, so my closest person in the standings is not having a great time, so affords me a little bit of pressure off. Book the Boy catches the wall there, and obviously I catch him on the way through, and that was just a bit unfortunate that he caught the wall there. Slowed me down a little bit in pace, and obviously I did kind of finish him off a little bit, but I couldn't see what I could have done to avoid that, so apologies there, mate, but just unfortunate to catch the wall. So we'll skip forward now to, not skip forward long, just skip forward a lap. Again, going through the chicane, got a really good exit. You can again see the difference the exit makes from that chicane. It's all about that chicane on this lap. Get that right, you just get such faster speed going through all this section here. You see I had it on ArbieG, and it looks like I got this pace on Lewis as well, although not sure if I'm going to be making this move. Definitely had the pace before, but now we seem relatively matched, so we're going to probably wait for our opportunity. Remember at the time when I was communicating quite a lot with Lewis, there's a little bit of lag, sees him pull back, he takes that inside line, but although he thinks he's on the inside line, that it kind of, if you don't get that right, it means the other person's on the inside line in the next corner, and it's not what you want. So you've got to be careful going on the inside there, as it doesn't always work out the way you'd think, not necessarily always the defensive option. Get through there, keeping it nice and tight with Lewis, within a few attempts, which means we'll just be able to capitalise if he doesn't get through a turn quite as he'd quite like, or again if we get a better exit out of the chicane. But we know Lewis is quite well matched with us in pace, so actually on ourselves a purple sector there. Fast lap coming in as we come to the chicane again, so can I get this right, get that faster exit again? Looks like I've got that right, yeah. Door's a little bit off it there, so if I was over the centre of the track we have to go around them, and then we'll come back in, so up to 4th position now, so position wise doing pretty well. You can see Barney's now up in 1st place, so again want to be trying to get into those podium spots to make sure we're not slipping too far in the standings and creating less space between ourselves and Barney. As actually we move up, Lewis actually has the pace on me there a little bit. We're neck and neck going up here, closer than last time certainly. He's going to have the inside line on this one, but I'll have the inside line on the next one. Actually get ahead of him there. I think he backed out of it a little bit. Was going to be quite close, but we would have afforded each other the room. I think we've got a good read on each other there, so good to get in front. I think Lewis as well, when I was talking to him whilst I was doing that take, he was on mediums as well, so I think from his point of view he didn't want to push me that hard. So we're going to skip forward now into lap 7. We're just in lap 7 now, sort of the start of lap 7. You can see we've pushed up that gap between ourselves and J-Lad, moving away from Lewis, so really able to make an impact now. And Barney Boy isn't that far ahead, you know, still got a gap, so still going to take a lot of work to get back on Barney if we can get past Jay. We know how good Jay is at defending, but it looks like we've got that done on Jay, going up on the inside there and getting a better line as he loses the back end a little bit there, which affords us that room just to grow that gap a little bit, and now we can start to focus on, can we actually go on to win this race, with Barney only having about a 2-second gap on us, and we know we've got that pace. You can see the past 2 laps getting into those 122s. So I am risking it a little bit through the chicane, which I know I am, but I needed to find that pace, and I knew the pace is coming through that chicane. I knew if I could get it right for a few laps in a row, then that's going to see me move up, and it has, so that's great. It's actually lap 7, so it's the lap we planned to pit anyway. You can see we can come through now. Chicane. And actually Barney's had a spin there. You can actually see he's come out there. So this is actually our opportunity. Still going into pit, because obviously it's the time that we plan to, and I don't like to deviate. I still prefer to undercut if I can. But with Barney having that big knock, and you can see Lewis has gone up in first place, we should be in a good position now, after all the pits have sorted themselves out, to come out in first position and maybe go on to win this race, which would be a great result again, considering like the little kind of knock and running wide we had earlier, and in general starting out from the back. Be a good result to go on and win this. But we'll have to see how it unfolds going through this lap here and seeing how the pit stops resolve themselves when people come in and out. But the picture as it looks at the minute, you can see Dawes himself, 20-second gap, massive gap in front of us. Just see what we can do now with the fresher tyres to just put in a good time and see if we can just make a little bit of gain in general. But we're hoping with the amount of refueling people do and the amount of time they have to go and pit, that once this all happens, we're going to come out as the race a leader, which in terms of the standings and that will do us really well. Really see is maybe push up a little bit of a gap in the overall race standings, as this race would be the end of the halfway point of the series, with a 6-round series, and this being round 3. As we come down now the long straight, again you can see that gap between us and Dawes, just under 20 seconds. Book to Boy 12 seconds behind us, so no traffic at all, just focus on what we want to do, which is being on the track. Everyone's now coming in for their pits with the exception of Big Boy Barney. So can we come out of his in second place? And if we do, we know we're in a good position, as we're just coming through now past the pit lanes, and it looks like we've got ourselves into second place again. But again, with Big Boy Barney up in front, still needing a pit with only a 20-second gap on me, it looks like, again, providing we just hold it together and keep ourselves on track and keep it all tight, we should be looking good to come round and get in front of Big Boy Barney. He seems to be putting off his pit, seeing if he can make that pay to his advantage. But outside of myself doing anything major in terms of slip off, I can't see it making much difference as we come through now. So now my focus is all about consistency now. It's not necessarily about going the fastest pace I can possibly do. You can see I've already hit those 22.9s and stuff, so in with a good shout on the fastest lap. We know Lewis can still improve on that time, as we've seen in the qualifiers in previous race, so Lewis can still possibly go and beat that. But for the sake of the race win, I'm not going to push myself too hard on trying to run purple times now. I think the main focus, and weirdly enough, as I'm saying that, you can see I run myself a purple section there, so oddly enough, contrary to what I'm saying, I'm actually doing a good pace here. I'm more probably referring to the chicane. I'm probably gonna go in a bit slower and out a bit slower, just to ensure that I'm not going to lose it, 'cause that's the most likely place I'm going to lose it. So probably not going to get in the 122s here as much as I was in purple. Yeah, you can see there, went in very, very conservatively through the chicane, and Big Boy Barney in and out of the pits, and see myself out as the race leader. So that's fantastic. And we've got a nice 5-second gap on ourselves, which is growing at the moment on ourselves and Barney. So again, just affords us that room to perhaps not try and push into those 22s. We can just sit in those high 23s, low 24s, nice and easy through the chicane, so we're not putting ourselves at a huge risk, and just see this race through is the best strategy. And you can see we skip forward now to lap 14, and that's exactly what I did. You can see the times I was setting, those mid 24s, even getting to 25 once and a 24 again. So really not pushing it with my laps. Just the rest of the track I felt relatively confident with. You know, it was just that final chicane, which I reckon, 4 times out of 5 I'll get through cleanly. It's that 1 time out of 5 that I'd push a little bit too early, or from myself wide, or catch one of the walls and have a really bad off. So just wanted to avoid that at all costs. But we're looking good. Last time through the chicane, nice and safely through, because we've got nothing to worry about from behind, and that should see us through for the race win. So really pleasing result there to come out with the win in race 2 on a reverse grid, and obviously with the little bit of a knock we had in lap 2 or 3. But that's the first place confirmed, and that sees us through and really cements ourselves as the leader of the series. should be nice to go through and win. I know I kind of feel like I'm kind of doing it in pace, but it's still pretty close, you know, in terms of where people are pace-wise. So you can see that's the standings as they stand now. So myself still sitting with 3 of the fastest laps, so 3 extra points I've gained from that with 87 points. Next closest person is actually Barney with 79. So I've got, you know, a good 8-point lead there at the top. So something to work on and see if I can sort of grow or just sort of maintain. It'll be nice to keep that little bit of breathing room. Then Fraser, who grabbed himself a fastest lap last week in 77 points, so not far off Barney there. So a little bit of breathing room now from where we were, which was only 1 point behind. And obviously Sly not turning up today, really unfortunate for him. He's still sort of sitting at 54, but he's very much up there in pace. And Lewis as well, up there in pace. You saw how fast he was running, but wasn't there for round 1, so you can see him on 49 points. But he did grab himself 2 of the fastest laps in that race, so well done there. He did actually grab a fastest lap on his very last lap there and managed to beat my 22.9, so well done to him as well. But yeah, really, really good racing. Obviously really pleasing from my point of view in terms of results, even considering some of the knocks and mishaps that we had along the way. But you know, that's what comes with Goodwood at times, and you just got to come to expect that. But that is it for today's racing and today's video. We'll be back next week for another video from the Mazdas, which will be round 5. Sorry, apologies, round 4. Don't remember the track from the top of my head, so it'll be a nice surprise for both of us when we come to view it. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're ever interested in taking part in ART Races, who is the private league who ran this one, and I'm taking part in, they're a really cool, friendly community of clean racers. You can join them, and they're kind of open to all of the skill level. So if you're fast or maybe you're still working on it, feel free to jump in. I put the Discord link in the description. Everyone's quite friendly there and quite happy to help out. So if you're looking for a bit of a space to chat to people and looking for a bit of space to improve your driving, I'd definitely recommend that place to go. And if you wouldn't mind as well, dropping a subscription. Obviously just a little channel here, and it's nice every time we get a subscriber. So if you wouldn't mind, that would go ahead and make my day. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video anyway. I'll be back soon, and I'll talk to you guys really soon. Okay, cheers, bye.